Hey y'all, this is AL Thick Madame, and this is the recap review of Our Kind of People. Y'all, I can't stop. That's how my friend, anytime she talks to me about that show, like anytime she says it, that's just what she do. And now I do it. So anyway, the episode started out with Aunt Piggy, whatever her name is, reappearing. And so Angela looking like, girl, why you ain't say nothing? I would have came to pick you up. She was like, well, after that long ride, I needed to stretch my legs and walk. So she walked over there. Little did she know that Nate is living there, who y'all know is Nikki's daddy. He came out in nothing but a bath towel. And I'm like, girl, don't try to start no mess. Like, of course she's gonna infer something going on because it's like, oh, wait a minute, you up in here living with y'all? Oh, okay, what's going on? So she was like, no, it's not that type of party. We are simply co-parenting. That is it. We see that Leah and Raymond are doing a lot better. She is still trying to figure out what she can do to help her husband to get his business back because her daddy found out what she was doing and basically stopped her in her tracks because he has a plan. There's a plan as to why he's doing all this, like it's not making sense because the shares have been uh, signed over to her daddy. So that means that her husband has no control in that company at all. So they enjoying themselves. Their son is enjoying himself with the little girl who is the lead housekeeper's granddaughter, and they sneaking around because she don't want her to lose focus and get all up in these boys' faces, which is understandable because people be doing the most. Like everybody is pretty much trying to love on one another. Nikki even went to go meet up with her girlfriend. So anyway, Angela was the bigger woman, and she went to go and see Tariq. And so he in the middle of working out and stuff, and so he trying to figure out why she'd have rolled up. And it's like y'all was in a whole relationship. Like what is we talking about? Y'all was dating, whatever, whether it was a relationship or not. Y'all was dating. And so he like, I've been busy. Teddy got me doing all these things or whatever. Child, you are avoiding her. Let's stop. So she had to make it be known like, I don't ever roll up on nobody. I don't do the chasing. I don't ever come and be the bigger person to get a situation back going. So I'm gonna need you to understand this. So he didn't really want to hear what she had to say and went on ahead and rolled off. And he went back to running, doing what he was doing. So Olivia is talking to the prospective members of that deity society situation that Angela is trying to become a part of. And it's a problem because she always throwing shots at Angela. She feels some type of way. She feel like Angela mama was trash and she does not hold her tongue. And so she was like, there are people who are going to be very powerful that are going to be there. And I think that there are some people. And like, you might as well it's like, you're at a point now, Olivia. Like, why not just say, Angela, I feel like you're not going to make it. So because that's pretty much the way she always roll up on her. She always throwing these shots, and it's like, girl, it's unnecessary. So of course Angela is defending herself, and so she was like, "Look, I can't do this. I gotta speak up for myself because you know what I'm saying. My mama, like y'all be coming for me. My mama stood up for herself, and I have to stand up for myself." And so she was just like, there are times that if you were not, doing what you need to do or being at a level that you're supposed to be, and you don't have possess certain decorum, that you're not going to be able to make it. And so Leah actually be trying to have her back, and I'll just be like, child, your mother-in-law is out of control. So Angela's about to quit when Leah tells her, you might not be able to just back out. And this is the reason why. So she leads her to her father, and he talking. And so she was like, is it your health? Like, what's wrong? What's going on? So he was just like, no, it's not that. He was saying that small business incubator program is basically not going to happen because he's not going to be able to back it because the investors and all these people who were involved who, strong armed, and they saw his diagnosis as a problem and they were able to have a better chance of doing what they was going to do. And, he's not going to be able to back her. So ain't nothing she can do. So now she has to impress the deities. And am I even saying it right? The deities? We'll see. But yeah, in her mind, now she just feels like she has nothing. She put her all into this. She put all of her eggs in one basket. Leah is trying to persuade her. Gracities, y'all. I don't know why I'm saying deities. Gracities. So yeah, she was just trying to tell her, look, you can do it. All you have to do is win over the Gracities, and you'll have a leg up. You'll be all right. She went home and she told Nate about it. And so he was encouraging her and telling her that you'll be all right. You ain't got to worry about that. Like, I know the type of person that you are. You'll be able to do it. And so, he told her that, things didn't go so well with his job hunt. And so she went over to his chest and touched his chest. And so he was like, what are you doing? And she was basically like, I'm trying to pass on some of my energy to you. So that, it'll hopefully help him out. Because y'all can tell she's kind of spiritual or whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. He over here about to burn up some food he cooking. I'm like, child, what is going on? Well, Raymond is on his computer and his mama come in. And so want to know what's going on. You can tell that there's a shell corporation because he's digging up information. He tell that he can tell that there is a shell corporation that he's using and trying to understand what's going on because it looks good on paper. So now they're trying to figure out what they can do to get the company back. He done read his mama and was like, look, I know you want this company only because you thought that you were going to be the one who's going to run it. But he ended up, my daddy ended up giving it to me. And so she was like, it's about time that a woman takes over this company. And he just looking at her like, yeah, it ain't going to happen. So it is what it is. So anyway, Nikki met up with her girlfriend and they talking. And so then her cousin, who is the ex-girlfriend, rolled up and was like, can I talk to you for a minute? And so she basically excused herself. And so they're talking, and y'all know that she is under the illusion that her mama is cheating with the partner that Raymond had, her daddy. And so she was like, well, what proof do you have? And so she was like, look, I hear you. And she showed her that key. And so she hugged her. And this is when Nikki sees her hug her. And she kind of looking like, I don't know, I might need to be worried about this situation. I'm like, girl, yeah, you should. Especially the way she moved and tried to put her moves on you. And they weren't even, officially done with one another like that. So anyway, Leah is being very, very nice. And she has dug up old photographs and paperwork and things that Angela can study to learn about the Gracities and, that organization that she's trying to get into. And so she was looking through one of the books, Leah, and she saw a picture because her mother-in-law made a point to say that you had to be a certain type of person in order for them to even consider you. And in the picture, we saw Angela's mama right alongside her mother-in-law and her mama. And they were smiling in the picture. So it's like, girl, what is you talking about? So she took that picture to the side. She didn't even tell her sister about it yet. So anyway, she is trying to learn everything she needs to learn because her sister told her, girl, you need to learn everything you can about these people and about this organization if you think you're going to have a good chance of getting in. So she's talking to her daughter about it, and she's trying to help her to learn, and she's going to help her study and all of that. And at the same time, she's supposed to be going to boarding school, her girlfriend. So she wanted to know if she can go. So she was like, well, the incubator program has been canceled. It ain't going to happen. But at the same time, I know you want to be with your girlfriend. And it's going to be, yes, a great opportunity, but you want to be around your boo all the time. So it is what it is. I see that. But she was just like, look, I say to you all the time that your mama going to do what she got to do in order to get things done. She showed her a picture of the venture capitalist that's going to come. And coincidentally, she's from Boston. If I'm not mistaken, she's from Boston. So it's like, I think her ears went up when she heard her say something about that earlier. So she showed her daughter a picture. And she was like, I got to impress her. And it's funny, y'all. I looked, every picture that they showed of her, it's been kind of far away. But ever since the first time they showed the picture, I was like, I think I know who the actress is. And it ended up being the actress who I thought it was. So anyway, she was like, well, what does she look like? What does her hair type look like? And she said it looked like a 4 whatever or whatever type she said, child. Y'all don't know. I don't know nothing about the hair typing like that. And so she was like, yeah, she does look like that's her type. So you already know she about to work her magic on this woman's hair or a product or something, right? So anyway, Olivia rolled up on Leah while she was in the middle of trying to find some patterns. I guess she gonna get a dress made or something. I don't know. But anyway, she was like, oh, well, this color looks better when you're photographing and all this other stuff. And she was like, yeah, you handle what you handle, and I'm going to handle the things that I know how to handle. I'm going to stay in my lane. So she was like, it's interesting that you would say that, because I would think that your husband's best interest and his business would be, what you would be focusing on. Like, she really tried to comfort her. I was like, child, please go somewhere and sit down. You ain't got nothing better to do with your life. I hope I don't get old like that and want to be in everybody else's business but my own. I will be somewhere sitting down, watching movies, TV shows, and knitting, sewing, doing pretty much a lot of stuff that I do now. You know what I'm saying? Vacationing. Ain't nobody got time. So tell me why Teddy done rolled up. And I think he's at either his house or at Raymond and Leah's house. So he done rolled up on the bar and made him a martini. And Raymond is just sitting there. He looking at him like, really, this is what you gonna do? So he was like, yeah, it's a very subtle way to, get my attention. He was like, oh, okay. So then he was like, yeah, I see you trying to get the business taken away from me. He was like, oh, it's not trying. As of by the end of the week, I will have the control or whatever, or that percentage. And I'm like, child, whatever. Tell me why I wasn't expecting this part to happen. So I was like, what is going on? So Angela is tired of her spirit. She went in the room where Nate is living in, and she found like vials of cocaine or something. And so when he came home, she had his bags, his raggedy duffel bags, if you will, packed, and was like, I never thought that I would say this, but it's crazy because I was trying to believe in you. I was hoping that you wouldn't do this, whatever. Why would you do this? Of all things, of all places, what you're not going to do is this. You're not going to ruin the environment that Nikki's in, whatever. And told him that he had to get out because she is under the impression that he has brought drugs into her home. And this was what he was talking about when he was talking about these opportunities that he, might have. Child, it's a mess. So anyway, they had a bonfire situation, and the little girl that Leah's son is, sneaking around with, he introduced her basically as the head housekeeper's granddaughter to somebody, and the girl was not impressed. She didn't even hardly speak to the girl or nothing, because the girl walked up on him, was like, oh, so this was the reason why you ain't responding to none of my calls or texts or whatever. So when the girl walked up, that girl said, don't you ever in your life introduce me like that again. I was like, ma'am, I mean, I get it, but you didn't have to say it like that. But anyway, they doing what they doing over there. Child, Olivia rolled up on the man who gave over his shares to Teddy. And so she talking to him, and she done had a drink, made the drink, and she really over here playing that role like, oh yeah, I'm your mother I'm your you're my son from another mother or whatever. Like, he's always looked at her like as a mother. So he was like, right about now, you're the only one who doesn't hate me. So they talking. And so she get up. She's not pleased with what's being said because he's like, let's do some cocaine. I was like, what is going on? She said, yeah, respectable people stopped doing that quite some time back. So no. But he finna party and enjoy himself. So he was like, yeah, well, let's drink to, the end of a friendship and a business relationship. So she wasn't here for it. She didn't grab her purse. She finna leave. So he done like kind of grabbed her a little bit and like trying to get her to understand. Like, he wasn't like really hemming her up like that. And so she was like, let go of me. Take your hands off me. And he was drunk already. So he lost his balance, fell through a glass table, and died. I was like, oh, Lord. Oh, gosh. Wait a minute. Child. So this heifer left up out of there. The granddaughter and the ex walked up in there because they wanted to talk to him to see what was going on, because as I've already stated, she's under the impression that her mama is cheating on her daddy, and she's a daddy girl. She lived for her daddy, and she thought that the parents were on the mend, but then it's like, what's going on here? Like, she really in her feelings about it. So she done walked in the room. They see him dead. I'm like, Lord, this is the last thing that anybody need to be seeing. Well, now the function is underway. Angela is there. Olivia sees her talking to the main person that she needs to impress. She is showing her some kind of curl pudding or something for her hair, and she's smelling it, and it had like certain things in it. The woman loved how it smelled and all that. She was telling her that she could tell what her hair texture is and all this and how it would probably work a certain way on her hair. This heifer rolled up on her and was like, don't you have any decorum? This is not something that you do, whatever, to set it off. And it's so embarrassing. It's like, girl, go somewhere and sit down. It was to the point where Leah even rolled up and was like, yeah, you got to calm down. It's not that deep. And so she really was talking that talk like, oh, we have to reach back. We have to reach forward so we can reach back for the other people and da-da-da-da-da. Leah had to check this heifer and told her that she's on notice. I said, ma'am, because she was like, yeah, it ain't got to that point yet, but I'm just saying. But she did have to check this heifer. Nikki is trying to figure out where her girlfriend is. Then she finally appeared. And she in her feelings, and now she think that these heifers together, and like she was just like, just let me know if I'm wasting my time. Well, eventually, Leah's daughter rolled up on her mama and was like, we found this key card, and I don't know what to think. And her and her daddy are right there, and they were like, no, that's not what's going on. He gave me his key card last weekend when he was really, really drunk. Nothing was going on. We're fine, or whatever. So now she, knows what's going on. It's really a mess. The fact that she even saw that is ridiculous. So yeah, Angela's aunt is coming clean. And she said that Tariq came to her and, started asking questions. And, that's around the time he started spiraling out of control. So got down to the point where she was like, I was wild back in the day. I was a completely different person. And she found out that Nate got kicked out. So that's when she really came clean. Come to find out the drugs that was in the room was hers. She used to be addicted to crack. I said, not crack, Lord. Not crack. Not crack. I understand it was the 80s, but not crack. So yeah, she was with old boy and they had a very volatile love relationship or whatever, and one day they got to fighting. He had his hands around her neck choking her out, and so she grabbed a knife because he really was choking her. She ended up stabbing him, not with the intention of killing him, but he ended up dying. So it is what it is. And I was like, Lord, this is just too much. This is too much. So she ended up reading her daddy, and she was just like, look, I'm gonna need for you to understand your daddy and who you think he is. Your daddy trash and all of this. I was like, oh Lord. And so like she putting a little bug in her ear and making her kind of look like, all right, do I need to trust my daddy or not? So anyway, like I said earlier, Leah ended up putting her mother-in-law on notice. She told her that she is sick of her behavior. And she brought up some interesting information, which is that, you said something before that, you had to be a certain type of person in order to get into this organization. But I found this. And she presented the picture that had her mama, and Angela's mama in it. And so she was looking kind of stunned. And so to get down to the nitty gritty, she ended up finally telling the truth about everything. So she was like, look, Raymond's daddy wouldn't let me in on the business. It is what it is, but he gave me a nice chunk of money, and I ended up putting my money into Eve's crown and all of this stuff. Child, so she looking like, really, what? So she was like, okay, well, that was your friend. She was like, that wasn't my friend. I was like, how you gonna sit up here and be like, she basically was mad. Like, she sunk all her money into it. So she felt like Angela's mama slept her way into the kingdom, if you will. And so she has had this personal vendetta against her and her mama ever since. And I'm like, girl, go somewhere and sit down. But anyway, she put this heifer on notice, and so she got to go somewhere and sit down before she ended up being all the way up out the organization. So anyway, apparently Angela went back to old boy and told him what happened, and that she just knew that back in the day he let her down and she didn't want anything to happen and all of that. Child, they ended up reconnecting and kissing, and so she was like, I can't do this. And so he was like, well, you did, kiss me back. And I'm like, child, everybody's just kissing everybody. We see Leah's daughter kissing her ex. And I'm like, child, don't nobody have time for this. Well, Raymond is tired in his spirit because his mama was about to leave out. And so she walked by and see him and was like, oh, I've been looking for you. Where you been? He ends up dropping the news that the old boy was dead. So she put it on this act like, oh my gosh, and sat down. Well, after all the lies were happening, and I'm pretty sure he gave her ample opportunity to say, "Well, it was me. I was there, and it happened, whether it was an accident or not." This heifer really put on that like she didn't know what was going on, and it's probably making it easier for us to get the company back. And he had to let her know, yeah, it made it easier for me to get it back. But this is the problem that I have. You dumb. I only know one person who drinks Jameson or whatever it was that was the alcoholic beverage of choice that this heifer always drank and left the evidence behind. She wears one specific type of shade of lipstick, and that was on the glass. So he took the evidence out, and the problem is her granddaughter saw this man's body. And so he has lied to the police, and they are ruling it an accident and all this other stuff and whatever. But it's like, girl, go somewhere and sit down. He didn't have to read this heifer and tell her it's gonna be my business, not yours. So don't get it twisted. And it's crazy because he was like, for once, I do not mind you meddling in my business, but I hate to break it to you. You have no chance of running Dartman. I'm like, oh, this heifer really thought she was doing something. Why you thought you had something? Why you thought you had something? The heifer really thought she was dipping it and doing it, child. But anyway, that was the end of the episode. That was hilarious. And I'm here for it. Y'all, please subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. Thumbs up this video. Let's talk about this down in the comment section. Y'all have a good one. Bye.